Good afternoon. United States troops have begun arriving in Saudi Arabia. They join a multinational defence force already massing in and around the Gulf. President Bush sent in an airstrike force and 4,000 ground troops after Saudi Arabia expressed concern over Iraq's troops gathering on its border with Kuwait.
Early this morning, paratroopers from the 82nd Airborne could be seen moving out from their base at Fort Bragg, North Carolina, preparing for the 14-hour flight to Saudi Arabia. The ground troops will be used to provide security for U.S. combat aircraft operating out of Saudi air bases which were designed and built for just such an emergency. The aircraft, including F-16s and F-15s, will be coming out of Air Force bases in the southeastern United States and will fly straight to Saudi Arabia, refueling in midair. Two events triggered this move. Yesterday in Baghdad, Iraq's Saddam Hussein called in a U.S. diplomat and told him he had no intention of pulling his troops out of Kuwait. Second, Defense Secretary Dick Cheney's weekend trip to Saudi Arabia persuaded reluctant Saudi leaders to let U.S. forces in. Without access to the Saudi bases, American forces would have enormous resupply problems. Cheney went on to Cairo, where he met with Egypt's President Mubarak, who agreed to send Egyptian troops into Saudi Arabia in cooperation with the U.S. forces. Cheney also asked Mubarak to take the unusual step of permitting the nuclear-powered aircraft carrier Eisenhower to transit the Suez Canal from the Mediterranean to the Red Sea.
And Turkey has banned the loading of Iraqi oil at its Mediterranean wharves, effectively cutting off more than half of Iraq's crude exports. And Iraq's pipeline through Saudi Arabia was shut early today. It's now known 5 New Zealanders are in the troubled area. External Affairs Minister Mike Moore says his department is doing all it can to establish contact with them. It's been confirmed 2 of them, identified only as D and H Hackyard, are safe and well in the Iraqi capital Baghdad. But there's no information on a third, Nairi Campbell. Neither is there any word on exactly where 2 other Kiwis, also taken from a British Airways jet at Kuwait, are being held. They are Anne and Barry Lovegrove of Timaru. And international uncertainty is growing over the fate of those passengers taken from that British Airways jet at Kuwait.
Iraqi television today showed these pictures of Kuwait City to try to convince the world that life under occupation has returned to relative normality. But there's confusion about whether Westerners will be allowed to leave. The Foreign Office is still trying to unravel Iraq's policy, which will affect those passengers and crew from a stranded BA Jumbo still in Kuwait. What's disturbing diplomats is the number of Britons and other Westerners who've been moved from Kuwait to Baghdad. The Iraqis say that people with exit visas can leave, but those who've been moved from Kuwait haven't got them. However, it's merely a rubber stamping job for the Iraqis, in effect President Saddam Hussein. He still decides who stays and who goes. The result, more confusion, especially as an Iraqi plane arrived in Jordan tonight full of Japanese tourists. Analysts think Westerners taken to Baghdad are already hostages to Saddam Hussein.
I think he'll hold these hostages and place them in positions which will make it difficult for us to bomb places which he's already figured we probably will bomb.
Ultimately, the fate of Westerners rests with this man, and no one seems to be able to guess his next move.